It's been a hot topic for parents everywhere for the past week. Slender Man, the paranormal character, has been blamed for two teenagers nearly stabbing their friend to death in Wisconsin.
The phenomenon has also reached the Buckeye State with a Cincinnati girl allegedly attacking her mother, as you just heard. What kind of impact is this character really having on our children? We're going to talk with Dr. David Lowenstein now about how the media and video games and movies, how all this really affects our kids. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, what do you think? Let's start with this Slender Man character, a little bit about, who this person is and why it's having such effect on our kids.
You know, it's a fictional character, and we got to remember that we've got kids who are pretty impressionable. I mean, teenagers are looking for somebody to kind of identify with, whether it's a sports character or some book character or whatever. But here's this paranormal guy that somebody put together, wrote a couple of things about it, and he's really kind of taken on a following. I mean, interesting name, obviously, but kids are trying to follow him and find out what they can do to be able to meet this person if they can, or do what this person has told them to do, and it's not a great thing. I mean, it's another example of we need to keep an eye on what our kids are watching and doing. I mean, how many times have we said that over the years? And our kids are watching this stuff, and some of them are actually believing that it's accurate and true.
But scary stories, scary movies have been around forever.
Absolutely, but I think that when we saw scary stories or we did those, we were watching them on television, it was somebody else. Now we've got kids who can actually role play into these things in the video game world, whether it's these violent video games where you're shooting or killing people or running people over, and we realize that, you get points for that now. Now you get like brownie points, and you get to move ahead, and you get to move to another world, and you get to beat more people, and I think that, kids have difficulty sometimes separating reality from fantasy. They believe things that they see and hear about. So, they're very impressionable. And here is somebody or something that has gotten some kids' impressions, and people are doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
So it's that interaction that makes it so different.
It's really on, it's really heavy, it's really interactive, it's exciting, it's energy producing, and it really gets kids motivated to do things.
And I don't know the statistics, but I would have to imagine that the vast majority of kids aren't going to go around stabbing anyone or shooting.
I hope so.
Right. So what is it then, do you think, about?
I think that we've got kids who are really impressionable. We've got kids maybe who are going through some difficulties. We've got things of people just kind of around what they're hearing and what they're seeing. We know that the internet's a really big thing for kids. They're being bullied. They're being, cyber bullied and things like that. Here's the kids that are looking for something, and they see this as a way of being able to feel better. I can do what this person does, or I want to meet this person, or I want to do what this person does. And they've taken on a role model of somebody who's pretty violent.
So what do we need to remind our parents to do?
I think that, we've talked about for years, our own parents talked with us about it, but you need to spend some time finding out what your kids are doing. I mean, go up to their room, find out what they're watching, what they're playing. Maybe we need to think about some of the video games that we get our kids. Some of our kids are pretty impressionable. Talk with them about the fact that that's not real. We don't solve problems by taking out a gun or killing people. We try to talk with them or whatever. But the biggest thing to be able to do is to know your kid. If your kid's having some difficulty, if they're spending, especially during the summer now that school's out, ungodly hours in front of the television, but more importantly in front of their video game, get them outside. Get them into reality again. Because, if you put yourself into fantasy long enough, you may believe that fantasy is reality.
Dr. David Lowenstein, always good to have you. Good advice. Thanks so much.